My name is Earl Hutchinson. I'm 91 years old. I was married to Dorothy for 58 years. 58 years. We built a life together, raised 3 kids, worked a farm in Nebraska through droughts, through floods, through everything this world threw at us. I never cheated, never lied, never missed a day of work. And I never once, not once in 58 years, told her I loved her. Not when we got married, not when our kids were born, not when she got sick. 3 days before she died, she looked at me and asked me a question, and I didn't answer. I need to tell you what happened in that hospital room, because if you're making the same mistake I made, you need to stop. Right now, before it's too late. I met Dorothy in 1965. I was 26. She was 24. A church social in North Platte, Nebraska. She wore a yellow dress. I remember that. Yellow with white buttons. I didn't talk much. Never did. But I asked her to dance. And when the song ended, I asked if I could drive her home. We got married 6 months later, April 16th, 1966. Courthouse wedding, no big ceremony. Just us, a judge, and her sister as witness. I brought her to the farm the next day, 300 acres my father left me when he died. The house needed work. Roof leaked. Floors were uneven, but it was ours. That first year, I worked sunrise to sunset. Planting season, I'd be in the fields before she woke up. Harvest season, I'd come in after she'd gone to bed. I was building something, providing. That's what a man does. Dorothy never complained. She'd leave dinner on the stove. I'd eat it cold at midnight. She'd be asleep in the chair sometimes, waiting up. I'd carry her to bed without waking her. We didn't talk much. I'm not good with words, never have been. My father wasn't either. He worked a farm for 40 years, married to my mother the whole time. I never once heard him say he loved her. Not at dinner, not on their anniversary, not when she was dying of pneumonia in 1964. But he worked every single day. That was love. That's what I thought. So I did the same. In 1968, our first daughter was born, Margaret. Dorothy was in labor for 19 hours. I sat outside the delivery room. When the nurse came out and said, "It's a girl," I nodded, shook her hand, went back to the farm to finish the planting. Dorothy's sister asked me later, "Aren't you happy?" I said, "Of course I am." "Did you tell Dorothy that?" I looked at her like she was crazy. She knows. 2 more kids came after that. Robert in 1970, Sarah in 1973. Good kids. I worked harder, expanded the farm to 500 acres, bought new equipment, built an addition on the house. Dorothy wanted a bigger kitchen. I gave her that. I thought I was doing everything right. But there were these moments, small things, things I didn't think about at the time, like in 1979, our anniversary, 13 years. Dorothy made a nice dinner, pot roast, mashed potatoes. The kids were at her sister's for the night, just us. She'd put on a dress, done her hair. We ate in silence. When we finished, she looked at me across the table, just looked at me, waited. I said, "Good dinner." She smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. She cleared the plates. Or in 1985, Sarah's graduation, high school. Dorothy cried during the ceremony, tears running down her face, happy tears. I put my hand on her shoulder, squeezed once. She put her hand over mine. We stood like that for a while. She turned to me, opened her mouth like she was going to say something, then closed it, looked back at the stage. In 1993, my father's old tractor broke down. I'd been using it for 27 years. I spent 3 weeks trying to fix it. Dorothy would bring me lunch in the barn. She'd sit on an old hay bale and watch me work. One day she said, "Earl, are you happy?" I looked up from the engine. "What kind of question is that?" She stopped. Never mind. I got a roof over my head, I said. Food on the table, healthy kids. What else is there? She didn't answer. I just took the empty lunch pail and left. I went back to work. The years kept going. The kids grew up, moved away. Margaret to Omaha, Robert to Colorado, Sarah to Des Moines. The house got quiet. It was just me and Dorothy again, like that first year. Except now we were in our 60s, then our 70s, then our 80s. We'd sit at the kitchen table every morning, coffee, toast, the newspaper between us. Sometimes I'd look up and she'd be staring out the window. I'd ask what she was thinking about. She'd say, nothing, and go back to her coffee. I'd go back to the paper, 58 years, same kitchen, same table, same silence. I thought that was enough. I thought working hard, staying faithful, being there. I thought that said everything that needed saying. Then came February 2026. Dorothy started feeling tired in January. Had said her stomach hurt. I told her it was probably something she ate. She didn't argue. By February, she couldn't keep food down, lost 12 pounds in 2 weeks. I finally drove her to the hospital in North Platte. The doctor came out after the tests. Pancreatic cancer. Stage 4. Maybe 3 months. Maybe less. I sat in the chair outside her room, stared at the floor. The doctor put his hand on my shoulder, said he was sorry. I nodded. They moved her to hospice care a week later. Private room. Window overlooking a parking lot. Not much of a view, but it was quiet. I stayed with her, slept in the chair next to her bed. The nurses brought me coffee in the mornings. I'd drink it while Dorothy slept. She'd wake up around noon. We'd sit together. Sometimes she'd watch TV. Sometimes she'd just look at me. One afternoon, Margaret came to visit. Brought flowers. Dorothy smiled when she saw them. Yellow flowers, like the dress she wore when we met. Margaret sat on the other side of the bed, held Dorothy's hand. They talked about the grandkids, about Sarah's new job, about Robert's upcoming trip to see us. I sat in my chair, listened. After an hour, Margaret kissed Dorothy's forehead, said she'd be back tomorrow. Dorothy nodded. As Margaret walked past me, she squeezed my shoulder. Didn't say anything, just squeezed and left. Dorothy watched her go. Then she looked at me. "Earl," she said. Her voice was quiet, weak. "Yeah." "Come sit with me." I moved to the edge of the bed. She took my hand. Her skin was cold, thin. I could feel every bone. We sat like that for a while. Her breathing was shallow, irregular. The monitor beeped slow and steady. Then she said it. "Earl, did you ever love me?" I froze. "I need to know," she said. "Before I go, I need to know if you love me, or if I was just someone you married because it was the thing to do." 58 years, and she didn't know. My throat closed up. The words were right there. 3 words. I'd had 58 years to say them. And now with 3 days left, they were stuck. I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. She was looking at me, waiting. Her eyes were wet. I squeezed her hand, hard, nodded my head, yes. She stared at me, searching my face for something more. I kept nodding, like that would be enough, like a nod could carry 58 years of meaning. She closed her eyes. A tear ran down her cheek. "Okay," she whispered. But it wasn't okay. I could hear it in her voice. It wasn't enough. I wanted to say it. I wanted to say, "Dorothy, I loved you from the moment I saw you in that yellow dress. I loved you every single day. I loved you so much it scared me. I loved you and I never knew how to say it." But I didn't. I just sat there, holding her hand, silent. 3 days later, she died. I didn't cry at the funeral, didn't cry when they lowered her into the ground, didn't cry when everyone went home and I was alone in that empty house. But 2 months later, Margaret came to visit. We were sitting at the kitchen table. Same table where Dorothy and I sat for 58 years. Margaret looked at me. Dad, I need to tell you something. I waited. I was outside Mom's hospital room that day, when she asked you if you loved her. I heard it. My chest tightened. And I need you to know. She stopped, took a breath. Mom asked me the same question when you weren't there. She asked me if I thought you loved her, because she'd spent 50 years wondering if you married her because you wanted to, or because it was just what people did back then. I couldn't breathe. I told her, of course you did, Margaret said. I told her you just weren't good with words. But Dad, her voice cracked. She died wondering. She died not knowing for sure. That's when I broke. Here's what took me 91 years and a funeral to understand. When someone asks, do you love me? Nodding your head is not an answer. Working 3 jobs is not an answer. 58 years of loyalty is not an answer. The only answer is 3 words. And if you wait too long to say them, you don't get a second chance. The grave doesn't give those back. I thought I was loving her the right way. The strong way. The way my father loved my mother. By working, by providing, by being there. But love without words is love the other person never knows they received. You can build a house. You can work until your hands bleed. You can stay faithful for 6 decades. But if you never say I love you, all that person hears is silence. And silence sounds a lot like doubt. I'd give everything, the farm, the 60 years of work, every single thing I own, just to go back to that hospital room and say 3 words. But I can't. Dorothy's been gone 6 months now, and I'll spend whatever time I have left knowing she died uncertain. Don't do what I did. If there's someone in your life right now, someone you love, someone you've been with for years, maybe decades, and you've never said those 3 words, say them today, not tomorrow, not when the moment feels right, not when you're less tired or less busy or less scared, today. Because Dorothy waited 58 years, and she died without hearing it. And I have to live with that until the day I die. Don't let pride steal what matters. Don't let silence become the thing someone remembers about you. If this story shook something loose in you, if it made you think about someone you haven't told, then do me one thing. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss the next story. Leave me a comment and tell me, have you said it? Or are you waiting like I did? I read every single one, because maybe, just maybe, we can save someone from dying the way Dorothy died. Wondering. Say the words while there's still time, before you go.